Good morning, homesteaders. Happy 4th of July. I'm out here in the early morning part of the day when most people are asleep because I love this time of day because this is why they call it the Smoky Mountains. It's so smoky and kind of cool out here. I thought today would be a great day to give you a tour of my front yard orchard. So let's get growing. Alright, so my front yard orchard consists of really just this large patch off to the right of our house and next to our alpaca field. Don't mind the tipped trailer there. And what we're going to start out with is this area right here next to the alpaca field. Now, most of you guys have probably been following the channel and you've seen that I'm growing figs, and I acquired a bunch of large fig trees, very excited about them. But these fig trees died all the way down to the ground. There was literally nothing on top of the ground that was surviving. This was my largest fig tree, and as you can see, this is all growth from this year alone, and it is doing phenomenal. I am a little concerned that I haven't seen fruit on most of these trees yet, so I may have lost the fruiting season. But I will say this, if you're looking at a particular type of fig tree, the Chicago Hardy, I have two of them, are the only ones that have visible fruit. Now, the only thing that's weird about these two trees is this particular Chicago Hardy. This branch, I accidentally buried it completely underground, so it actually has last year's wood, which is pretty amazing that the figs are growing off of that. So some of them are getting overtaken by weeds, but I've been coming through trying to do a pretty good job at taking out the weed mess. But I'm not an expert on figs, so I'll probably end up needing to thin some of these to help get more light. I'm still waiting on one of my Facebook groups, the Tennessee Fruit Growers, to give me a little input on that. But it's pretty dang cool so far. And you can just see all of them are just bursting with life. None of the big figs that I got died. That actually is a fig that I purchased locally that didn't make it, but I'm letting some weed grow there that looks kind of cool. You can see right here, I've got this fig growing. It's got some tangle vine trying to come up through it that I'm going to need to clear out so it doesn't choke it. And then this poor little fig is just getting overtaken with weeds. It was one of the not as successful ones, but it is still coming back, and I'm gonna have an awesome fig tree. So if you want to see the names, like I said, I'll put a link to the video description that has the names of these guys on it for you, so that we're not just completely guessing. All right, now we'll walk over to the next part, because this is going to be actually kind of interesting how we map this all out. But I'll start out with the mulberries. So this front kind of driveway that goes down my house, on the left, this outer edge is nothing but mulberries. Now, figs and mulberries are somewhat related to each other, so I thought it'd be kind of a good mix. The leaves will look similar, and they both produce fruit at very different times, so I'll have a very long range of activity. So some of these are in the ground this year. I had a early mulberry that died last year that I replaced with this guy, and I'll try to remember to put the names in the description. There's just so many, guys, it's going to take me forever to do a video remembering all their names. If I do remember, I'll tell you though, like this is the contorted, and like the branches on this are just wild. I actually, even if this one never gives me fruit, I like it just for its pure size. My night flowers will be closing up anytime now. This right here is some ragweed. Ragweed is awesome pig feed, but we're not going to talk about that today. Got a couple mulberries that I still need to get in the ground over here. They're just everbearings. This is a everbearing that I purchased last year. I actually chopped the crap out of it this year to try to graft onto it. None of the grafts took, but it actually helped it spread out. So that's what happens when you top out a mulberry. Then I've got a few more small ones. If you see fence posts around it, it's because I was protecting them. Like this one's getting taken over a little bit by ragweed. Need to pull that out. Probably give it some iron. Down in here, I need to get in there and get all the grass and weeds out, but that is a Shangri-La mulberry that I got from a friend in Arizona from a cutting this year. This one I know is a Persian, and it grew this last year really well. I will say though, it did with the cold die back a little bit, but it is above the graft line, so I'm confident that it'll be safe. Here is my, I don't even remember what it is. It's weeping, so I know it's some kind of weeping mulberry, which I like, but... And then over here is my Australian green from Queen Creek Tropicals. I need to get in there and weed it out, but it is outgrowing the weeds, which is awesome. All right, so the next stop we're gonna look at is my persimmon orchard. Now, you guys who follow the channel know that I planted these not too long ago, and some of them have died. Actually, quite a few of them have died. Luckily, every single one of them I have some kind of warranty for. I don't know if there's something wrong with this area of the property, but most of the stuff I plant over here doesn't make it. So I had 3 smaller ones in the back there that didn't make it. Kind of a bummer. This one I'm treating it for pests because I seem to get a lot of pests. A lot of weird stuff going on it. But I did see, I don't see it anymore. Must have dropped. There was some fruit growing on it, which was kind of surprising me. So out of all my trees from Willis Orchards, this is the only one that has come back, this persimmon. This one got attacked, but you can see it's got some new leaf growth going on. This one, it finally bit the dust. And then the only other persimmon over here is the American persimmon. And it, obviously being a native, probably is doing the best. And it's the only one I've had in the ground for 2 years now. All right, so let's go do the walk of stone fruits. So if you guys notice my lawn mowing, I actually came through and bicked the grass yesterday around all of the fruit trees to make this video a little bit easier and to help with some of the weed control. So this is an apricot. Now, those of you who watch my video on why fruit trees don't grow here, it's because I don't know all the fruit trees that are going to grow here. So I am experimenting a bit of everything. They say apricots won't grow. Well, I've got 2 of them and 2 cousins of apricots to try to see if I can influence a little bit of change and see if I can get some fruit production. This is a pluot. So pluot, 75% plum and 25% apricot. And I had this from last year. Japanese beetles got to it a little bit, but I was able to spray it. My spray has been working perfect for those of you who follow the channel. And then we get over into some cherries. So this is, I believe, a Stella cherry. You guys see my cherry video that I posted recently, you can see all the names of the cherry. Sorry, there's a lot of referencing to other videos, but I really just wanted you guys to see the layout of what I'm growing. This is the one that sour cherry that I actually got fruit off of. And then coming over here, I've got some more cherries. They just really do well. I mean, they're growing really good. This was a Lapkins. This is one that I really tried to grow in Arizona and never had any success. It was dead by June every year. This is a Sienna, is what it says on the tag. There's my Bing, Chandler Bing. And then we get back over here and I've got 2 that I'm really excited about. These are 2 apiarium trees. Now apiariums are 75% apricot, 25% plum. And I've got 2 different apricot trees here. Probably need to straighten that guy out. Coming over here, this is a Red Haven peach. Red Haven peaches are one of the types of peaches that I've been told will actually grow well here. So, whoo, mosquito biting my head. So I'm excited to try to get fruit off of this. But when I'm actually gonna get fruit, I actually need to get bags out here before the birds get my fruit, is this one right here. It's a contender peach tree. And it's actually got quite a bit of almost ripe fruit. Like that one right there. If I don't get a bag on that today, the birds are gonna eat it. So right here, surrounding most of my property is a black walnut tree. And over here, it's a giant wild persimmon, American persimmon female that fruits. But before I get too far, there's a few more trees I need to show you guys. All right, so I've got over here, I've got the last of the pure cherries, I think. Walking through this, I actually ripped this giant tree out last year, and I need to get it out through the roots because it's gonna take over this area. And this is a plurry. Now, plurries are cherry plum hybrid. I don't know the percentages, but they do pretty well. And you can see after I've sprayed it and I gave it some iron treatment, the leaves are coming back green and the Japanese beetles are no longer destroying this. It's actually thriving, coming back with a vengeance. Okay, I lied. I had one more cherry tree. This cherry tree is the last one, and I believe it's a gold cherry tree. All right, walking over to this little corner, I planted this small hazelnut. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it here. I don't think it's gonna get enough light, but it surprisingly came back from the really cold winter. I didn't do a very good job planting it, so we'll see. This giant tree right here, this thing is awesome. I was ready to chop these down because I wanted more room for fruiting trees, but this is a tulip pop tree, I believe that's what it's called, and they have these beautiful, beautiful orange flowers. All right, so now we're walking through the berry patch. I haven't really showed you guys the berry patch, but the berry patch is awesome. I have some Prime Arc Freedom blackberries along this row, and I know I need to get in here and mow and weed it because the weeds will just take over, but I don't care if you guys see how a real homestead looks instead of the picture perfect manicured ones that people that's the only job they have, because I have to work all day. Otherwise this thing would look immaculate. But you can see lots of fruit forming. Really excited about this particular project. Getting over here, I need to clear it out, but I got my blueberry patch, so there's a blueberry right there. Awesome little spider web in this blueberry patch. Let's see if you see any blueberries. We've actually probably picked them all. These are high brush blueberries. These actually are real tasty. We like them. Now we're getting over to the active part of the berry patch. So you see a lot of these are in season. I forget which kind they are. I planted so many varieties of blackberries. It's insane. But they are kind of in full force. And the crazy thing about these blackberries is I keep getting new blooms. Like, blackberry season in my house is going to be months, I think, because we've been enjoying blackberries and raspberries for a while. You can see I've got several rows of them. I actually bought a little Ryobi electric lawnmower simply to help me come in and weed between these plants, because my riding mower, I made mistakes and accidentally ran over some berry bushes, which is kind of disheartening, especially when the weeds like take over and you don't see the blackberries hanging out inside of them. But these do grow wild here, so I have to be careful when I'm trying one, because there's something called a bramble, which I never even heard of. They look just like a blackberry, and they're not poisonous, but man, they taste horrible. Horrible. So that's a fair warning to anybody who has a nice big patch like we do. Then here are a few of my heritage raspberries. I think I've got, let's get that in focus. These guys taste delicious. They're just like the raspberries you get in the grocery store. I'm not gonna like say that they're 1,000 times better, but just the simple fact that I was able to grow them is pretty cool. Man, I don't realize how many I've got going on over here. And then this last winter I bought some 3-year-old Triple Crown blackberries, and they are coming up with a vengeance. I'm gonna need to install some kind of trellis system over here. All right, getting to the last part. So you guys remember I had a video on my American chestnut seedlings, so that's what we have going on over here. I may need to stake them up a little bit. Some of them are protected, most of them aren't, and they're actually doing pretty good without the protection. This is a sourwood tree. I specifically got this sourwood tree so that I could have beehives over here, and they could get the pollen from the sourwood. It's supposed to be a very good tasting one, but you know, we have all the stuff for bees. We just haven't had the time to start that project yet. All right, and then walking over to this back corner is near my creek. Actually, I've cleared it out a little bit more yesterday because I have some seedling plants that I'm wanting to put over here. But this is my pawpaw orchard, and right now I only have 4, but I'm okay with that for right now, just because they're a very interesting native tree. So looking at this one, this is one of my seedlings that I got from Naturescapes, and it is the one that I'm doing my video on amendments versus non-amendments. So that one is one of them, and this is the other. So they're right next to each other. Only difference between them, they look the same pretty much when I planted them. One has amendments and one doesn't. If you want to know which one is which or take a guess, subscribe to the channel and you can find out, because I have some more detail on that. Look in the shorts if you don't want to look too hard. Then this is one of the original plants I planted here. This is a Collins pawpaw, and I need to clear the land around it because it's starting to take over. And then this is another seedling pawpaw that I got from Willis. Now these didn't have as many amendments as the main one, but I did give them some. So these aren't amendment free either, so I couldn't really use it as a good control test. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that little back or front yard tour, and subscribe to the channel and I'll continue to give you good updates. I'm really excited for the future of this homestead and all the amazing things we're going to be able to grow here. So until the next video, keep on growing.